Having this new record be so personal and really writing it and living it and having all of these experiences and then now being able to listen to it all put together and all finished. I mean, people that want to hear it are going to hear it now and I think learn so much about me and where I'm at in my life right now. It's just a really honest record and I feel just excited. I can't wait to get out there. I haven't traveled and toured in a while and I'm just ready to get back into it again and show everybody this kind of like new side of me that I feel really comfortable with. I hope people love this record and relate to it and understand. And something that I have to look forward to is just really being myself and having people, you know, learn new things about me because I feel like there's a little bit of a preconceived image that I'm just this really nice, normal girl, and I am, but there's stuff behind all that as well, you know, and I want to share that with people because I think they'll relate to it and understand. And when I was about 4, we moved to San Antonio. My sister started getting involved in like ballet and school plays and singing in the choir at school, and I'm like 2.5 years younger than her, so everything that she wanted to do, I wanted to do as well. And it basically was just kind of like that, you know, she wanted to get involved in acting, and there was an acting workshop not too far away from our house, and I was the tomboy, you know, like I just always wanted to be outside and always active and doing sports and stuff like that. And Haley was a little bit different, you know, she was more like creative and really girly, and she was having like so much fun during these acting classes, and she would come home and teach me what she'd learned, and I was like, I want to do it too, and because I wanted to be just like her. It really happened like that. We would see little things like posted on the bulletin board at the workshop, you know, like random casting call, come here, come there, modeling job, like show up, audition, you know, and after about a couple months of us going to this class, my mom started noticing how much more talkative I would be and not as shy, and I would, you know, go up to anybody and start a conversation and just really like opened both of us up a lot. And she was like so impressed by it. And we would start bugging her like, Mom, will you take us to this thing? It's this weekend, you know? And she's like, okay. And we just we're very persistent with making it known that we wanted to do this. That's when we started coming out to LA. It's quite funny because when we first got out here, it was kind of like this whole scam thing, you know, like we met this woman and pay her, you know, $2,000 and everything's gonna be set up for you out here, and we have no idea how any of this stuff works, you know, and of course we get out here and nothing is set up for us. We don't have an agent, we don't have a manager, we don't have auditions, we just have a place to stay. So she did this to like a couple families, and most of them just packed up and went home and was like bummed out, and we're like, well, we have this place and we have our homeschooling set up for, you know, 2 months. So we stayed and we were going on auditions, and my mom like found this bookstore, how to get all this information on the business and meet people and get an agent. And Haley actually booked a commercial and I booked a commercial, and we were like, oh, this is easy. Like, we're good at this. We got it down, you know? I think I booked a couple more commercials, but then nothing else, nothing for a long time, you know? And we were like, oh, I guess it's not as easy as we thought, you know, and we went back to Texas, and then we would come back, and it was like nothing for a couple years. And then finally we started to both kind of book guest spots on TV shows, and I booked this movie that was a made-for-TV movie called Casper Meets Wendy. It was such a great experience because it was just a really quick lesson in how it's all done, you know. And after that, things just started getting more and more permanent living in Los Angeles because we were working more and had to be here more, and it just kind of never stopped since then. When I booked Lizzie McGuire, a couple months before that, I had booked a TV show that I did the pilot for, and it was called Daddy-O. After the pilot, I got replaced by like 2 kids instead of 1. I don't know if they were twins or what the story was, but I was just like, oh my God, I got fired. They hate me. I was so kind of like embarrassed, I guess, that I felt like I did a bad job. So I was like, I want to go home. I want to go see my friends, and I want to like start going to school again. And my sister wanted to stay out here, so my mom stayed out here with her, and I went back with my dad in Texas and started going to school, and just for a couple months, you know, and we were gonna figure out something else. And my mom calls me one day and she's like, Hillary, there's this audition that Disney Channel's called for. And they knew me because I had auditioned for many things for them before. And my mom was like, Hillary, they really, really wanna see you. And I was like, no, I'm done. I'm already in Texas, I don't wanna do it. And she's like, okay, you know, and she calls back later on that day. She's like, Susan called them and told them that you weren't in town anymore and you weren't acting anymore. And they were like, what? But she's perfect for this. We really, really want to see her. And they're like, we'll send a ticket. And I was like, Send a ticket, awesome. I get a free trip to LA to go see all my friends just for like a couple days. And I thought it was great, so I went, and I didn't really go over my lines at all. And I just showed up and read, and then the casting director was like, "You are terribly unprepared, aren't you?" And I was like, and then it kind of like put that back in me, like that challenge that I always had, that drive to want to go in and like nail an audition and do a really good job and convince someone that I could be someone else. And when she said that to me, I was like, it's on, And I like went over my lines and did everything I could to be really good. And I came back the next day, and she's like, "Okay, get a call back, you're gonna come and see producers." And it was a process of like 5 or 6 auditions, and then I got it, and I just stayed in LA and started filming the pilot. And I tried to not let myself get too excited because of what had happened in the past about the TV show I'd worked on. And then when we started filming, it was just like nonstop. When I decided to be a singer, it was right when Lizzie McGuire was finished. So I had filmed the TV show for 2 years, and we worked really hard. We didn't work like a normal TV show. We did like something crazy, like 35 episodes in one season. There was a ton of young artists at the time, like singers and stuff that I would be around when I would do signings, with the cast for Lizzie McGuire. And people that I listened to and knew and heard on the radio, and would be around sometimes if we were at like a work thing together. And I was watching some of them perform one day, and I was like, if they can do that, I can do that. And I don't know if I can sing, but I could try. And I remember I took a couple voice classes when I was younger, just because I was taking acting classes and stuff. And I told my mom, and she was like, "Oh, great, here we go again," She had no idea about anything about the music business, and neither did I, and we didn't know anybody. And I met my manager just randomly one day, and I told him, I was like, "I want to be a singer." He was like, "Can you sing?" I was like, "I can try," and I just sang for him, He's a German guy, he's really funny. He's like, "I want to work with you." And then we started shopping around to different record labels, and I got signed, and I started making a record. So it was really exciting, and just a whole new experience that I never knew that I could do or really wanted to do. But once I kind of got in the studio and then a year later started performing in front of people, I was like hooked. My first album we called Metamorphosis. It's so funny when I look back at my records at the time. I thought it was the coolest thing to have a record, and we named it Metamorphosis because it was like a big change for me. And it was interesting being an actress and having everyone know who you are from your TV show, and then putting out a record. From my experiences, I feel like it's almost more accepted to be a singer and then turn into an actress. It seems like it's easier or something, because I had the hardest time really trying to get people to like pay attention that I wanted to be a singer. And I think it was really just like my fans from my TV show, because it was such a huge success, that they all went out and bought my record, and then people couldn't really deny that my record was successful and that people liked my music, And then they started like playing me a little bit on the radio here and there, and it was #1 on the Billboard charts the second week it was out. When it was told to me, I was like, that's cool, but what does it mean? I didn't know anything about the Billboard 200 chart and about how sales work and about everything, and I learned it pretty quick after Metamorphosis came out. We had 3 singles, and the first one was Why Not, which was on the soundtrack for the Lizzie McGuire movie. And then my first single that I released on my own was So Yesterday, and then Come Clean. It all happened really fast, but I remember just picking the single, and we did it with the label, and then I was shooting a video and leaving for tour and going to all these radio stations and giving them my single to play on the radio, and it was just really exciting. And then the same thing happened with Come Clean, and we shot this cool video, and I got to hear my songs on the radio and sing it for all these people that like knew it, and it was cool. And I was really lucky because I wasn't writing any back then, because I didn't really even know to. I was just like, I want to sing. And my manager and my label, they made it to where I got to work with really great people who wrote great songs and helped me a lot in the studio. And of course, I listened to the songs and said, no, I don't like that one. Yes, I like this one. Maybe we could, I got to be a part of it, just not as much as I am now, which I like. It was all like a pretty slow learning process. Kara Diakwati and John Shanks wrote Come Clean and did the music to it. And we worked so well together, and we're like a big team. Semi-dance edge, but still with all like real instruments. When I decided to name my record Dignity, it felt like a really strong title. Dignity is something that my mom has always really tried to instill in my sister and I, and it's not something that you can be given or that you can just get or that you're born with. It's something that you have to work on. It's not always the easiest road to take, and it's something that I hope to always strive to have. Before I released my album, Dignity, we released a single called Play With Fire, and it was really just kind of a tease, like a hint, to get people into my new sound and what it's gonna be like. And a lot of the songs on the record are different from Play With Fire, but it just matches the whole kind of like dance, electro mixed with a little bit of rock